Hey everybody, Matt Wright coming to you from the studio today with 5 reasons I love the KORG M1. Let's get started. I love the history of the KORG M1. It was the first workstation keyboard that KORG or really anyone made. It would let you do all of your sequencing internally, and you could also, of course, edit your patches as normal, and it came with insert effects, so you could actually place your effects on your sounds inside the keyboard as well. Back in 1988 when this was released, this keyboard was a game changer. Obviously, again, it was the first workstation ever made, and it really set the bar for all the workstations that would come later from KORG and also from the other big synth manufacturers of the time. Additionally, we'll talk about this later on in this video, but some of the sounds that came out with this keyboard just changed pop music in the 90s in a very real way, in a way that is still identifiable to this day. You can hear a lot of tracks that feature some of the sounds from the M1. So that's the first reason that I really like the KORG M1. Reason number 2 that I love the M1 is the universe patch. It's the first patch that loads up when you fire the keyboard up. It was, I'm sure, the first sound that I heard. My first M1 actually was not a physical hardware M1. It was KORG's Legacy Collection version, the software version. And it comes right up to the universe patch first thing, and you play it, and you're just kind of transported back to a different time around the late 80s, early 90s. And I've actually used the universe patch in a couple of tracks that I've made, and it fits in so well, but it adds some great texture. So let's take a listen. Reason number 3 that I love the KORG M1, the simplicity of the design, the minimal look of the keyboard. I'm a lines guy. I love good lines. I like sleek designs, and this one has it in spades. It was a real departure from the early 80s when a lot of the manufacturers were still putting knobs and sliders on. And don't get me wrong, knobs and sliders are actually really great, and I most of the time these days prefer a keyboard with a lot of hands-on control. But the sounds are built so well in this that you could do sound design, but there are a lot of really well-made patches already in there, so there's not a lot of tinkering required to just get some good sound out of it. So with that being said, just a few buttons here and there to get you around where you need to go. But just the sleek overall design of the chassis. I love the way it looks sitting in the studio. It's just kind of mysterious. There's just not a lot going on, but there's a lot under the hood. The 4th thing I love about the M1 is that it is, at least up to this point, it is timeless. It's nearly 35 years old, but it's still very relevant. There are a lot of folks still making sound banks for it. I've purchased one recently that really just lends itself to a lot of ambient track making. It still sounds just great. It just sounds so good still today. It sits in the mix really well. The multi-samples that are in there are good and very usable. So, even though the keyboard's nearly 35 years old at this point, it's still very relevant. It can still sound very modern. And so the flexibility of this keyboard after this many years is one of the things that I love about the M1. All right, reason number 5 that I love the KORG M1 is the sounds in this thing. In particular, the piano sound from this keyboard, again, well, and really the organ sound as well, were both very revolutionary for pop music in the late 80s and through a whole lot of the 90s. You just almost can't listen to any pop music from that era without hearing this piano and this organ sound. And I'm not going to sit around and name tracks that use it. There's plenty of videos out there that you could go look up that will tell you all these wonderful tracks that use the sounds of the M1. But just the legacy, you know, just to sit here and look at this keyboard and realize how many popular music songs from that time era featured the sounds from this keyboard. It's just kind of, it's cool historically. So that is the 5th reason that I love the M1. So if you think the KORG M1 might be right for you, but you have trouble getting a hold of the hardware, which it's not that it's rare these days, but it's getting tougher to find stuff in really great shape at an affordable price. You could always check out the legacy software version of the M1 from KORG. I believe they have a free demo of that. You could try it out, but the software is really easy to navigate. It sounds great. It'll get you everything that you would get in here obviously without the hardware. But that's a great place to really just check out the sounds of the M1. I'll put a link in the description below to KORG's legacy page, and you can check out that software there. I was able to pick this keyboard up for relatively inexpensive on Reverb. It was listed as basically for parts only. It had the internal battery warning on the screen, so prior owner had changed the battery out and the message didn't go away. So they just decided to move it on. So I picked it up, and interestingly, I got it here, I powered it up and just did a factory dump to it via SysX, and it worked just right off the rip. I didn't have to do anything to it. Value slider is not working here, so I've got the replacement on hand, and I just need to get in there and swap that out. Other than that, everything else works on here. It's just a little, you know, the paint job's a little beat up here and there, but again, it's a real workhorse, and I plan to keep this for a lot of years to come. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I would love it if you would subscribe, like the video, leave your comments below. Do you have an M1? Have you had one in the past? What are your thoughts on it? I'd love to hear more from you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.